Chapter 244. Halal Rape vs Haram Rape, Part 4. After the trial is over at the Sharia court, Mr. Osman Al-Taib's private doctor advised that Omar should be admitted to the hospital. Even though, his rich brother-in-law insisted that he should remain in the house, and the hospital medical care should be brought to him. The hospital had sent one of its best doctors and 2 young beautiful nurses to take care of the patient. The doctor paid visits to the patient 4 times throughout the day, and the nurses are on standby day and night. The nurse that covered the night shift complained that her patient tried twice to rape her, but his physical condition hindered him. For that reason, the doctor added 2 nurses to the special staff. Some VIP persons are seen by the neighbors coming to visit the sick man. On the first day, the neighbors saw the wealthy man Mr. Osman Al-Taib come early in the morning to pay a visit to the bedridden man. On the second day, the famous politician Mr. Mohamed Al-Hilali and his son Hassan are spotted in the evening entering the house of the hospitalized man. On the third day, in the afternoon, the virtuous Mu'allana Sheikh Marzouk and Haj Mohammed had been seen walking hand in hand and entering the house of the debilitated man. However, on the third day evening, an unexpected visitor had also come to visit the ill man. The neighbors are disappointed when they saw him. The unexpected visitor stood before the outside door and knocked. Omar's mother stood near the door and asked the visitor to reveal his identity. "I am a visitor that has come to meet the man of this house," said the knocker with harsh voice. "What is the name of the man of this house? Is he without a name?" said the mother. "Old woman, I don't like to reveal the name of your son, for sometimes, the police follow us without our knowledge. Just tell your son that a prophet from Al-Waish has come to see him." "How can a prophet come to see my son, and who is this Al-Waish?" "Al-Waish is another name for Satan, the prophet is one of his demons, and if you don't open the door you will find me standing behind you. I will call the police if you don't go from here." "Old creature, don't you know that the police will be happy to visit your house and lay hands on your hiding son?" "What is your name, sir?" "My name is Shakosh." "Just tell Al-Sahir one of these 2 beautiful names, Al-Waish or Shakosh." The mother followed the order of Shakosh and informed her son. Omar told his mother the visitor is a very important person and must be allowed in. The mother went back and opened the door and ran and stood as far away as possible. Her daughter came out of her room at the same time the unexpected visitor walked in. When the 2 women saw the creature that walked inside their house they embraced each other out of fear. For they thought a gorilla had come in, instead of the visitor. But when the gorilla spoke in a human voice, they knew he is the unexpected visitor. "Will you tell me whether I follow my right hand or left hand or jump over you? Can you wait outside?" "We will tell Omar to meet you outside in the street," said Badria. "Listen, little lamb," said Shakosh angrily, "I am not interested in women, but my master Al-Waish is. If you repeat those insulting words again, I will make you spend the night in his arms." "Will you please, sir, understand that you are not supposed to speak to my good daughter in that filthy language? Am I an outcast or a dog to be spoken to outside the house? As far as the present situation is concerned, I am more clean than your son. Have you come here to fight with us? Old creature, I have no time to waste with you and your daughter. Show me where Al-Sahir is hiding himself. I have a 2-minute message for him." The mother with fear and trembling pointed to Shakosh the way. When the daughter saw the gorilla advancing further into the house, she ran and entered her room and shut the door behind her. It happened that when Shakosh showed up, 2 of the night shift nurses had just started their duty, and when they set their eyes on the gorilla man, great confusion took place. One of the 2 is about to inject the patient and when she saw Shakosh she fell on the sick man and injected herself instead. The other nurse saw him last and fainted last. The mother brought a large jug of cold water and poured it on the nurses. It is a quick recovery. When the nurses came back to the conscious world their mouths got the required strength to scream. "What is wrong with you, shouted Omar, he is not a ghost. He is a human being like you and me. He turned to his friend and said, I am sorry Shakosh. You know women. They scare of their own shadows. Nevertheless the gorilla man felt very much offended and hence railed the nurses with very filthy words and is about to attack them physically, but they ran out. You are living amongst cowardly creatures, shouted Shakosh at Omar. Only women I have around me. From the time we had been taken by surprise until today I am living among women. I am missing the company of men. When my old woman told me a gentleman by the name of Shakosh has come to see you, I wanted to run to the door and receive you in my arms. But my physical strength has failed me. Those dogs had done a good job on my bones. How are our other boys? They are worse than me. Especially Sahuda and Alagbash. When I left the cage they are half dead. The dogs carried them like logs and threw them inside. How did you break loose from the cage? No human power can break loose from those angry dogs that day. The master and I are surprised when we read in the newspapers that Inspector Hussein had denied your existence. Money had made him to deny my existence and blot my name out of the charge sheet. Have you bought your freedom? Not me. My rich brother-in-law had bought me from him. Now the riddle is solved. We had broken our heads trying to figure out how you ran away. Run away? Say carried away. None of us will be able to stand on his feet again for at least a month. Do you have any idea who sold you to the dogs that day? The newspapers called him a good citizen. Not at all. No matter who sold us, the owner of the house should be blamed. We have told her not to allow anyone entry to the house on Friday. Al-Waish had paid her in advance. The singers and dancers had come from Kassala. Only 6 of us are from this city. I don't know how that intruder came in. Maybe he is one of her regular customers. Shakosh looked seriously at Omar and said, Man, is drinking alcohol prohibited in this house? Not at all, but the doctor stopped me from drinking. However, I am taking beer secretly. That is not bad. Badria, shouted Omar, bring 2 bottles from the refrigerator. I am not coming. Tell your mother to bring them. Badria's voice is heard talking from a far distance. Have you frightened my sister? She believes that Shakosh should not enter her house and defile it. If she is not your blood man, I will have made her kiss my feet. Never mind my sister. All women are the same. They are good for nothing, except the bed. Oh boy, the bed reminded me of that lamb which we picked up for the master. If she stood before you without her clothes, you will fall at her feet and worship her. Not me. Women for me, are a waste of money and a waste of time. Because of one little creature, all of our best boys went behind bars. You are talking like that because you have not seen that lovely lamb in the private chamber of the master. While the friendly talk between the 2 criminals is going on, the mother walked in with 2 bottles of beer in her hands. She put them between the 2 intimate friends and left. Shakosh's face made a gesture which understood by Omar as a smile. He took 1 bottle and emptied it in his stomach. Man, said Shakosh gladly, you are living in a palace. A house full of papers. Even the master is not as rich as you. That is my brother-in-law's blessings. The master wants some money. He wants to run out of this country before the dogs lay hands on him. Where is he? He is hiding under the Red Sea. How did he get there? That is not a safe place to hide in. That is why he wants some cash to help him to cross the border to Egypt. Inspector Hussein is keen to catch him in order to hide his involvement. Are we going to have a bite after this beer? I am starving. First quench your thirst, then the bite will come. Wonderful place to live in. Are you spending the night with me or using it as cover to fly to the master? The master needs money urgently. I must see the sun rising in Port Sudan. After that the mother is called in and told to prepare a good dinner for the important guest. While the food preparation is going on, the two criminals finished many bottles of beer. The bite is brought in. The two intimate friends enjoyed the delicious food together. Omar counted some cash and handed it to Shakosh. The gorilla man inserted the money in his secret pocket and said goodbye to his friend and left. Inspector Hussein had kept an ambush around Omar's house from the day he set him free. He expected that sooner or later Al-Wayash or his messenger will come to seek help from Omar. That night Inspector Hussein's men saw Shakosh when he entered the house. When he showed himself again, they took him by surprise and carried him to their boss. From that time the ambush is removed. Inspector Hussein, who is eager to restore his image which had been distorted by the disagreement between himself and the innocent girl, is very happy to lay his hands on Shakosh. Within a short time he extracted the hiding place of Al-Wayash from the gorilla man. He then picked up the phone and called Port Sudan Police Headquarters and informed them about the hiding place of the notorious criminal. After 2 hours Port Sudan Police Headquarters reported the arrest of the gang leader. Inspector Hussein picked up his phone and made many calls to various local newspapers and police stations. His message is the same: hello. This is Inspector Hussein, who is in charge of the recent kidnap and rape crime of the innocent girl. The gang leader Al-Wayash and Al-Sahir have been arrested by me tonight. Al-Sahir goes by the name of Shakosh, which he invented recently to hide his true identity. He fled with his leader Al-Wayash before I raided the house where the crime is committed. For more details please contact me tomorrow morning. Nevertheless, after 2 hours from the time Shakosh is arrested, another unexpected visitor stood in front of Omar's house and knocked at the door. A sweet female voice is heard by the visitor saying, "Who is there?" "A visitor has come to see Omar," answered the unexpected visitor. "May I know your name please?" "Walid Hamza." "I have never heard of your name before. May I know the purpose of your visit?" "I met Omar recently and he asked me to visit him. I am from Khartoum." The peaceful voice of the visitor compelled Badria to open her door and have a look at him. When her eyes beheld the handsome young man, and the handsome man saw the lovely young girl standing before him, both liked each other. Badria opened the door and held it with her hand. She requested the visitor to come in. Walid wanted to walk in, but somehow is compelled to make a choice between two alternatives. Either to remain standing outside or walk in and touch the lovely girl's body. He preferred the second choice. Another step towards love is established. The sweet voice requested the visitor to wait until the doctor finished his last visit to her sick brother. She promised to give him company until her brother will be free to meet him. She asked him to follow her to the waiting room. The visitor accepted the proposal gladly. She walked before him with that style in which a young girl walked when she is aware that a handsome boy is following her. The visitor enjoyed the style very much and hence a third step towards love is made. The lovely girl swings her beautiful figure to and fro and sideways until she took the special visitor to her private room. When they sat in the room and looked at each other, they fell straight away in love. One blushed and the other looked down. So, it is the sweet voice that started the conversation. "Do you work in Khartoum?" "I have not yet found a job. I have just completed my graduation from Khartoum University and I am looking for a job in this city." "Even me. I want to join the university and become an air hostess." "But for an air hostess you don't need to go to university. You can become an air hostess right away after the completion of your 12th standard. My brother-in-law told me I must join the flying college at the university, otherwise I can't become an air hostess." "I don't think there is a flying college or club in our country, and even if there is one, that will train you to become a pilot and not an air hostess." "Is the pilot the one who drives an airplane?" "Yes, he is. I don't want to become a pilot because I am scared that I may drop the plane in the sea. You don't need to be so scared of being a pilot. They will train you well, you can fly without dropping the plane in the sea. But I want to become an air hostess. My brother-in-law told me that I look like an air hostess. By the way, is your brother-in-law a university's graduate? He said he graduated from the University of Life. He studied up to the 4th standard, ran from school and entered the University of Life. Because of that graduation he became so rich. He promised to pay for all my training fees. So do you want to join the same university and become rich? No sir, I am not after money. I just want to become an air hostess. I can help you to become an air hostess without your brother-in-law's money. I have already accepted his promise. How can I promise 2 persons? So you don't want to become my friend? I didn't say that I don't want to become your friend. How can we become friends without meeting each other? Also, I didn't say that I don't want to meet you again. Where can we meet again? I don't think it is advisable for us to meet here again. We can meet at my grandmother's house. She is very old and doesn't see properly. I go once in a week to clean her house. We can meet there without her knowledge. She is a wonderful grandmother. Give me her address and tell me which day I can meet you. Badria took a pen and paper and wrote down the address. She read it silently and when she became sure it is the right address, she gave it to her new lover. Walid too, read it silently and folded it carefully and inserted it inside his secret pocket. After that, he waited for the day to be announced by the sweet voice. Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. Agreed. May I know my friend name? Before Badria can tell her new lover her name, the mother came in and shouted at her. How can you sit alone and talk with a stranger? And doing that without my knowledge or your brother's knowledge? This is Omar's friend. When he came the doctor is still with Omar. Will you follow me to Omar's room, sir? Walid came out of his romance and began to think about his visit to Omar. He found himself in a dilemma. Should he betray Omar and hence endanger his love affair with his sister or cover him and win his sister? Before he can answer his question he found himself face to face with the kidnapper and rapist of the innocent girl. Yes sir, said Omar sharply, do you know me from before? Not at all. Even me. I don't think I have seen you before. Why have you come here? But I have seen you 2 times and both of those times are not in good places. I don't go to bad places. What do you mean by that? Listen Al-Sahir, I have come here to make a deal with you and Mr. Osman Al-Taib. If you refuse my deal, I will go directly to the police. I don't understand what you are talking about. The first time I saw you it is in the house where you, and your evil friends had raped that innocent girl. I am the good citizen who directed the police to you. The second time is at the Sharia court, where you had deceived Mu'allana Abdul Mohsin Taha by your false story of 4 o'clock morning prayer. Why don't you go to Inspector Hussain and lodge a complaint against me? Inspector Hussain will be the last person for me to go to. For he knew about your crime, but Mr. Osman Al-Taib's money had closed his mouth. Are you a policeman? I am what I have told you. The good citizen that exposed your crime to the police. What is your deal? Before I have come here, I was having 3 demands, but after I met your sister they have increased by 1. My first demand is to write a full confession of your involvement in the crime. The second is to write another confession stating the bribe of Mr. Osman Al-Taib to Inspector Hussain, through which your name is blotted from the crime. The third is to give me 10 million Sudanese pounds in cash. The fourth is your sister. Why should I give you my sister? Don't worry about that. She is also interested in me. I don't think Mr. Osman Al-Taib will agree to the 10 millions. He may agree for 1 million only. Listen sir. I have not come here to bargain with you. I have enough information which will send you and Mr. Osman Al-Taib behind bars for the rest of your lives. I am the one who dictates the terms and not you. When do you want the cash? For that I can wait until your brother-in-law returns from his trip. I will not come myself, but I will send my friends to collect the cash. When the cash reaches me, I will come for my fourth demand. What will stop you from blackmailing us again? My friends will bring with them a statement written by me about this deal. When I receive the cash and your sister, I will mail to you the confession papers. May I know your name? My name will remain as the good citizen. You don't need to bother yourself about the true name. All the time Omar is trying to figure out an escape from the trap, but he couldn't. He knew that the good citizen is having enough information which will put him in real danger. So, the best thing to do, is to write the confession and to leave the matter for Mr. Osman Al-Taib and Inspector Hussein to handle the good citizen. He took the papers and pen that is offered by Walid and wrote the full details about the crime and the bribe. He signed and handed them over to the good citizen. Walid read the papers and deposited them in his pocket and left the room. His expectation came true, when he saw the sweet voices standing by the door. Most probably she is waiting to say goodbye and answer his last question. She exchanged a love smile with him and said softly, "My name is Badria. Please don't forget to come on Thursday." "I can forget everything, but I cannot forget your promise and sweet voice." After that Walid Hamza walked out of Omar's house with a heart full of love and adventure.